Guys. Now, obviously, there's a lot to be said about video game pricing and the direction that it's going in, and then the future direction, right? Like, there's always that conversation about the new GTA and how much that's going to cost. We're not going to so much get into that, but of course, we all know that Nintendo felt it was appropriate to release Tears of the Kingdom as a $70 game, right? And they did note that each game would be priced individually. And then if you look at kind of like the industry standards for AAA games on other consoles, it's typically $70 for a standard edition of the game. And even yesterday, I was watching the state of play, and then shortly after that, the pricing came out for Monster Hunter Wilds, and it was 69.99, or if you buy the Steelbook edition, which I don't know about you guys, but anytime I've got a Steelbook edition of something, it's a pre-order bonus. But in this scenario, the only one who put up the pre-order so far was GameStop, but it's $70 for the base game, and then if you want the Steelbook version, it's 74.99. Okay. So they've never passed that on to the consumer as far as a pre-order, to my knowledge. If they have, maybe it's been once or twice, but 9 times out of 10, the pre-order bonus is going to be the steelbook, right? So that was interesting, and that definitely caught my eye. I'm like, okay, we're slipping in a little bit extra money there, passing that on to the consumer. Good that we're still getting a steelbook, but $75 now. Okay, your choice, of course, if you want to do that. And then, of course, there's other scenarios, right? Like when a game comes out on Switch at a later date, sometimes you can pick up the game on PlayStation or Xbox for like $20 at retail. But then it's released on Switch for the first time and it's full price. And then there's also the term that's been coined, and I think we've all experienced it, the Switch tax, where a game is more expensive just because it's on Switch. Now, of course, there's reasons behind that, and one of the reasons could be the cartridge. Uh, I don't know the exact breakdown of the cost of the cartridge and all that, but you know, many times a game has been more expensive on Switch than it is on other consoles, even if they come out the same day. So if it's a multi-platform release, the Switch version is more expensive. So it's going to be interesting because my thought was, and another part of this was seeing that release date for Monster Hunter Wilds, February 28th, because to my knowledge, that's a game that we're all kind of banking on coming to Switch 2, right? And we finally got the release date yesterday. And so I saw February 28th, and I'm like, I wonder if that's going to be anywhere around when Switch 2 comes out. Obviously, we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But that game's $70, right? And so if we expect to get that on Switch 2, which again, it sounds like that's our expectation,
Mhm.
the first question would be, before we get into some of the other kind of bullet points here, is are you guys prepared to spend $70 on a Switch 2 game? Possibly more. Possibly more. That's the thing, is like, okay, wait. So for right now, today, games come out multi platform and they're more expensive right now on Switch 1. What happens if we get multi platform games that come out day one that are $70, but they're more on Switch, like 75 or $80?
Well, that's interesting. I'm personally ready because I think Nintendo's been laying the ground already. We're giving us Luigi's Mansion a remake at $59, right? So they're setting the new standard for these, I would say, lower tier games. Aside from Tears of the Kingdom, which is I would say Nintendo AAA, game, like massive game, a lot of gameplay. So Nintendo's been already been kind of pushing the prices up That's why whenever Princess Peach was also $59, right?
Yeah.
Princess
Yeah.
Peach at the time, So and that's not a major Nintendo game. It's not a major Mario game. It's a little sidekick there, and so I think that's Nintendo's baseline for their lower tier, right? And I think every single multiplayer kind of falls into that as well, like Mario Kart and all that stuff, into that tier, and then the bigger games, the open Mario games, the Legend of Zelda big games, not the 2D, top down 2D, and then open world. I think there's two worlds in Zelda. And when it comes to Zelda, the next big giant open world game then might be $70 to $75. Who knows? But the top down will be $59. And so yeah, I think Nintendo has been already been laying the ground. Now when it comes to third party games, they are already there. So just bringing it to Switch, I think it's because Nintendo Switch, maybe the development or the porting of the game is a little bit more trickier to make it work on the system. A lot of developers from third party games have said it's been challenging, and I think it's been challenging just because they've been building from the ground up for that console instead of building from the ground up for Switch, or maybe building on the ground up and on the way up. Okay, this is the Switch, this is the port for Switch, and then take that port out instead of just kind of bringing that one down to the Switch. I guess it has to do with that. They might think they can charge a little extra, but have a solution. Go indie. Indie, you'll never find a game for 70 or 80 or $90, maybe a rare one in the indie world. I got games
That's
like
true.
$1, $2, $3. There's crazy open world action adventure games, and you'll find it like $19, right? Zelda caliber game for 20 bucks. So it's a good way to build your library when it comes to saving money.
Absolutely. Okay. Uh, Super Metal Dave, what do you think, man?
I think it depends on the game, on the profile of the game, and plus if it's a remaster or if it's an older port.
Mhm.
A lot of times these companies have gotten away with charging $60 for older ports on Switch just because no one's ever played it on the go before. So it depends on the type of port it is that they're doing, and if it's day and date, I can't see a AAA third party charging more for their version on Switch 2. I think they'll have an across the board pricing, but I do think they'll be charging $70 just like everyone else. And depends on the Nintendo first party game too. I think they will also charge $70 for a brand new next generation mainline Mario and the next Zelda. I think they will charge $70 for those. But yeah, like the quote unquote lesser games, like Kirby, Yoshi, they'll probably charge $60 for those. But AAA third party ports, I can't see them charging $80 for a Switch 2 port because technically it'll still be inferior graphically, yes, it's the portable aspect that's great, but people have already been experiencing that for it's going to be nearly 10 years by the
Mhm.
time Switch 2 comes out. So that is great, but I think just the aspect of them having the games on the system, they want to get all that money up front. I don't see why they would overcharge and just have it, kind of segregated their own pricing, and then people just gravitate to buy maybe the PlayStation version since it costs too much on the Switch 2. I see a blanket cost more so for everybody.
I can see that. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they're not going to pull out the Switch tax for Switch 2,
Yeah.
especially when it's a day and date multi-platform. I really can't see them doing it, and that's especially in that scenario. That would
Yeah.
not be a good move.
Okay, what games in particular have they done though? Because I've never heard of that. Like when a game ported to Switch being more
Oh
expensive.
man, so many, Mike.
Uh, was it Skyrim?
Red Dead 2, right?
One of those.
Red Dead
One-
1. Yeah, the first Red Dead. What they mean by the Switch tax, Mike, is I think they mean like the game's $20 everywhere else, but it's
Um,
here.
Mhm.
but because it's been out for a while everywhere else, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
But even like the re-releases are still like even cheaper than.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and like some scenarios, a game will come out on like day and date, like currently, this right now, it'll come
Mhm.
out on PlayStation for $29.99,
That'll be
34.99, or 39 on Switch.
now the
Oh.
reason that was given for a lot of that just over the years has been that the cartridges are more expensive.
Mhm.
And the thing is, the cartridges aren't going to get cheaper. They're going to use newer technology, bigger cartridges. It's it's going to be kind of comparable, I would think, if not more expensive, especially with the way inflation kind of spiked over the last handful of years. So I think that you're going to look at this situation where one of two things are going to happen, or both. One, a lot of AAA third parties might just go digital only on the platform. You can only buy it on the eShop, $70, because they don't got to worry about the cost of the cartridges then. And if they think their game's good enough, and 60% of sales right now on Switch, at least in this current fiscal year, according to Nintendo, has been digital. If they think that's going to increase and be 70, 80, start approaching like PlayStation levels where it's like 80 to 90% of all sales are digital, they might go, it ain't worth us worrying about the physical, and we'll just sell for 70 and call it a day. Or if they do physical, they might do one of these things where some of them, especially the bigger ones, where they're going to need like a massive cartridge, and that's assuming that they even put it all on the cartridge, right? They might just make it download most of it. But if there is even still a physical, they might go, look, we're not going to upcharge you for the physical. We're going to make it a collector's version or a steel book or some other excuse where you can you can get it physically, but it's like $100. But we're going to give you extra stuff to make you feel like it's worth that $100 to have it physical, but otherwise buy it digital. And they kind of already sort of do that on the other platforms, except they still have the base version at 70 on a disc. But discs are so much cheaper, like, pennies. So, whereas like if they're buying like a 64 gig cartridge, I mean, that could be like $20 for them to even have that. So, they're not going to just eat into $20 in losses. They'll either just go straight digital, or they'll try to justify $100 price point by packing in stuff that costs them like nothing. Extra few skins or some dumb stuff like that. Which, by the way, they already have these $100 versions on the other platforms. So this isn't like a crazy thing to say. They just also still have the $70 physical.
Well, that didn't really work out too good for Ubisoft, right?
Well, I don't think anything is working out.
Nothing.
Let's be clear. The best news of the day was that they delayed Shadows, meaning that, I don't know if that's good news or bad news, because that means the game has problems already and you were going to launch it anyways.
Well, they apologized also for Outlaws being a broken mess, right? So and they charged $129 for that one of those
They're going
versions.
back on their PC stuff now. They're releasing everything day one on Steam, which really great as long as they get rid of the Ubisoft Connect stuff. That's the only. If you put it on Steam, you got to get rid of that.
What I'm saying is that you can't be so arrogant that you think everyone's going to buy your $100 game at this point, especially in this economy. It's enough to spend $400 on a console. So I think a standard pricing should be like mandated at least by Nintendo to keep control over things. And just like, $69.99 for AAA games, great. And then Nintendo can do their own thing with their own first party games. But like just expecting people to buy your $100 game just because you're Activision. This is the first Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform. $100. I can't see them necessarily doing that. But there might be outliers. Maybe a Grand Theft Auto 6 Game of the Year edition. Even though it runs at 30 frames per second, or something like that, they could probably get away with it.
They might even launch it at 100 to take advantage of all the early adopters. Like that's out there right now because it's so popular. They probably would end up getting away with it.
I say case by case basis. I can't see any like standard $100 pricing.
Totally fair. Like when I know how expensive the cartridges are, Nintendo doesn't have to charge third parties that. They can eat the losses a little bit themselves. I know they don't want to, but like Nintendo, you are taking a 30% cut of their profits on the game. You could just eat the cartridge and maybe only make 15%. But yeah.
Eat the cartridge. That sounds interesting.
Literally eat it.
I know. I was saying the same thing.
Lick it or lick it.
I would say Nintendo is the one charging them for the cartridges. So it's kind of like, you don't have to charge them as much. You could find a happy medium. And of course that's going to make Nintendo want to push people to buy digital even more. But it's all heading that way. Anyway.
There you go. GS in the chat. eShop music for Switch 2. They charge an extra $50 for the eShop music. Watch out.
Oh, it's great.
Game Junction. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I think that there's probably going to be some sort of because we kind of sort of got a standard pricing, but kind of not at the same time. I think it's going to be a game by game basis. Of course, you got the potential of the cartridge costing more, so there's that to take into equation. It's really hard to say. I think it's just going to be kind of third parties making the choice of what they want to do. You know, there might be a $40 launch for a significantly older game, which does happen, you know, frequently now.
Yeah.
But a $50 launch, because Nintendo even does it occasionally. So it's hard. I don't think there's going to be a particular standard pricing, but definitely I think the $70 for first party Nintendo games, I think is going to be the standard.
You know, like I'm prepared for $70 on Mario,
Mm-hmm.
Zelda, possibly Metroid.
Metroid 4, yeah.
It's tough
Oh,
to
yeah.
it's tough to tell though. I mean, they just charged $40 for the Prime remastered, which was excellent.
Mhm.
And then they remaster or remake or probably remaster other games like Luigi's Mansion, and they charge full price for that. Like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, that
Yeah.
was more expensive. So
Donkey
I don't
Kong
know.
Country
Yeah.
Returns HD in January is 60.
60,
Yeah.
yet Prime was 40. So that's why I actually think it will be a game by game basis. Brandon and I or Game Junction, we were kind of talking about this the other day, but it's like, yeah, we expect it for Mario and Zelda. And then I think after that, I don't know that I can say I expect a certain price
Mhm.
because, I mean, can you imagine paying $70 for Kirby or for like a Yoshi game?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgotten
Yeah.
Land style game.
Yeah. I also
Yeah, Forgotten Land was great. Like that's a bigger game, but
Like
I
a
remember like
side-scrolling
Yoshi's
one,
Story coming out on 64 back in the day.
Mhm. I also
And
think that the Metroid remaster, I think it was a season. I think it was like a when I kind of see the entire picture and I'm like, okay, at some point between then and Luigi's Mansion or then and the next remake or remaster, they decided, okay, this is our new price point moving forward for remasters and remakes, and that's why they brought up $59 for Luigi's Mansion and stuff. So I think I'm like, okay, because when did it come out? Like 2021?
which one?
Metroid Prime remaster, right? 2021 was it? 2022?
2023.
23?
Yeah,
Last,
I
so-
was gonna say
Last-
Dave's gonna
last
know the
February.
release date.
last year. Wow, seems like forever now.
yeah, don't be Jeff Grubb. He thought it was sooner than that.
Yeah.
Well, you thought that was 3.5 years ago? Where have you been,
I
man?
did, man.
Holy moly.
Well, I even running Indie Mania, he aged like 5 years. Just
Oh
doing
yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like it wasn't long ago. It really wasn't. So Prime comes out for 40,
Mm-hmm.
and then you jump up $20. And I actually would have expected them to jump to like 50 to that $49.99 spot. Not really the $59.99 spot, which obviously they did, and we just saw that with Donkey Kong, and we saw how the internet reacted to that. People were not happy. And you know, it is what it is, right?
It's really a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Metroid, Nintendo knows, is not like a gigantic seller. Let's be honest. It's decent. It's good enough to keep around, of course, but like it's not like a Mario or a Donkey Kong or Zelda. Even Donkey Kong doesn't even sell that much. But they know, since people haven't really played it much on the Switch, they skipped the Wii U stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They even skipped 3DS stuff because the 3DS didn't sell only a fraction of what DS sold. So like there's the Switch is just gigantic. So yeah, they're going to take advantage of all that stuff, and they're going to charge what they think they can get away with. And I think Metroid was a testing the waters kind of thing. They knew that they were going to get a certain amount of sales with that. So I'm pretty sure like Metroid Prime 4, I think they'll charge $60 for the Switch version, and then they might charge a $10 charge for the upgraded version on Switch 2 for like $70 if you buy it just for Switch 2. That's my take.
Yeah, I think that's a good take. I could definitely see that. And Brandon and I were kind of talking about this as well. And it was like, all right, what are the top tier games that we know are going to be 70? And we both mentioned, like, we threw out Donkey Kong, and then we're like, well, it's tough to say because I mean, we haven't got a new Donkey Kong since 2014, right? Tropical Freeze, like an actual new game. So can we consider Donkey Kong to be in that $70 tier when like you haven't even had a new game in 10 years? It's going to be 11 now next year. So it's like, I don't know if it's going to be 70 or not, but he's going to be in the Mario movies. So
Yeah.
They're doing it.
right? That's
They're charging 60 for an HD version of
yeah.
Oh
a
yeah, for
3DS
sure.
game. Like that's just
What's
like
$10
or
more?
whatever. Like that's just they're going. Here's the thing: Nintendo's trying to obviously build up the Donkey Kong IP. Like, and we have to remember in building up that Donkey Kong IP that like they, he's in the movies. It might eventually have his own spin-off movie. The theme parks, Donkey Kong, like they're treating it like it's a premium IP for them. So like anything that I would say any IP Nintendo has that thinks it's selling 5 million or more, they're going to charge 70. It just is what it is. Like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, yeah, 6 million plus. Okay, next 3D Kirby game is going to be 70. Animal Crossing is going to be 70. Splatoon is going to be 70.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously, all the Mario, Zelda, Pokemon might even jump up in price to 70. So like a lot of the games we play will jump up the side. The question is really something like Metroid, which has never really done more than a little bit over 3 million. Are they going to risk that on, I would say on the Switch 2 version in particular, having a $10 difference if it's cross gen? Are they going to take that risk just because it's early in the gen? Test the waters with it because most of the sales will still be on Switch for that game.
Possible.
Yeah.
Because that might be a testing waters for them to be like, oh, are people really going to buy it for 70 or double dip at 70? Because that's the one that's kind of like, yeah, Metroid's not a guaranteed big seller for them. So but it's also we know it's one of the most expensive games they've made. They've had a reboot development on it, AAA reboot development on it. So like it's one of those that Nintendo sunk a lot of money into a game that they don't know if it's going to sell well. I hope it does. It's got to be excellent.
Yeah.
And then if it's excellent, I hope it sells well.
I got another question now I'm thinking about. I think we all kind of expect Metroid Prime 2 and 3 to hit at some point before 4, or at least that's the hopes, I think. Now, since Prime 1 was a full-on remaster, and the rumors are that Prime 2 and 3 would be more of like a HD kind of cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still expecting those to come out at 40?
Nope. $59. $59.
You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to charge for a more labor-intensive Metroid Prime 1 remaster, 40, and then like, and we just cleaned this up with some HD stuff, and we didn't do as much basically, and we're going to charge 60 now for Prime 2 and 60 for Prime 3.
Maybe they'll do 30 for each.
That would be cool. I'd love that.
Combo them for 60.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think that's the move.
Yeah, if they're not putting in the same work as with Prime Remaster, you just combo it together.
They did the same thing with Crisis Remastered, Crisis 2 and 3 at least for the Switch. Those are both 30 each. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you do a physical combo, and then you offer the combo, and then offer individual on digital. I think that's what's the way to go with
Yeah,
that.
I think that'd be great. Like, I think
what I
that'd
hope
be
they do-
preferred.
Yeah, what I hope they do is do a trilogy package eventually.
Yeah.
Have all three available.
That
Like
would be
by the
nice.
time Prime 4 comes out, do like a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD edition for like $70. You get all three games. And
What
obviously Prime Remaster's already been out for like 2 years at that point, so you can discount it, So
What if
you
they're-
have them each be $30 or something.
What if they're going to do something weird? We've seen Nintendo used to do this kind of weird stuff a lot in the past. What if they're just going to give you 2 and 3 when you buy 4? Do weird stuff like that. Like back in the day, you get Wind Waker and you can get that collector's disc that had the other stuff. They were only for launch, for pre-orders. It wasn't like super expensive or anything. I wonder if like the reason we haven't had. I mean, I would have thought 2 would have dropped by now at some point.
Yeah.
And it didn't. So I'm like, what if they're just like, nah, we're going to actually try to increase 4 sales by saying, yeah, but you're getting 3 games.
Yeah, but this isn't the desperate Nintendo that they used to be.
No, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Iwata maybe.
But I don't think it's desperate. I think it's just trying to increase sales of that particular.
I mean, hey, I would love that, but yeah, like I just don't see them giving away free games like that, especially not Metroid Prime 2 and 3. I can't see them being free.
But if you buy 4, you just get them.
Yeah, I can't see that happening. I would love it though. Trust me, I would. I just don't see them doing that.
I mean, if they minimal effort it costs them like nothing. They're losing like no money. If they spent like $1 million to make those games in the HD, it's costing them like nothing. They're just doing it to increase sales of 4. They want people to
Sure.
buy 4.
I wish they would.
Want 4 to hit 10 million. I don't actually know if they wanted to hit 10 million, but I'm assuming they wanted to do more than 3. I just figure if you throw in some free games with it, people might be like, well, shit. I don't like 4.
Yeah.
I might like 2 and 3.
I mean, people still bought Metroid Dread without having anything given away for free. So that's to the highest selling Metroid game. So
Yeah,
I would love to be. I love them to all
probably
be free,
cost-
but I just can't see it
I
happening
think there's a
personally.
chance that this game cost 100 mil to make with all the money they had to scratch.
Oh.
Dread did not cost that.
Listen, coming from a non-Metroid fan, I'm a Metroid fan, but I'm not a Metroid fan. Like I'm not into. I don't know the lore, but I like the gameplay. Metroid Prime 4 to me calls my attention so crazy, like a lot. Maybe because of the time it's been in development, and also because of that first trailer. I'm like, no, I need to get into that game. I need to play it. And so, how many people more like me who were not into Metroid saw that trailer there and they're thinking Switch 2. You know, they're also thinking Switch 2. I know it's going to come for Switch. It's enough for Switch, but maybe on Switch 2 it'll just be so much better, and they'll offer more with that. I don't see Furukawa giving anything away for free. That man is a money hungry guy.
Yeah.
But
You're spending $70. It's not free. Like, we gotta be clear. The games aren't free. You have to spend money to have them.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You're just increasing the perceived consumer value of that $70 that you're spending. But it might not have actually cost Nintendo that much money to throw them in. If the rumors are true that they put like hardly any effort into them. They're kind of just like HD, just like doing it on an emulator.
Yeah, I can see what Super Metroid, Super Metroid,
I mean, this
Super Metroid.
Super Metal David said. I can see them doing a what you guys suggested, a dual pack or even a triple pack for $70. That makes more sense because you're getting 3 games and then you're getting the big game that they're announcing. You know, so yeah, I just don't see. I hope they do something for free. It'll be awesome. You know.
But yeah, Mike's right though. That a lot of people got their attention. Got struck with Metroid Prime 4's trailer because it looks so impressive. So I can see a lot of people just like trying out and buying Metroid Prime 4 with the Switch 2 just because how impressive it looks, and they want to see what the system can do, and they know that's going to be a graphical showpiece kind of game. So I could definitely see them doing that, and seeing the sales increase just because of that, the hype.
I got even
console and the
crazier.
game.
Remember when you used to get those magazines back in the day and they came with the discs that had the game trailers on them?
Of course.
The trailer for the next big open world Zelda game is only available on the physical.
Like the gift card.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
That would increase sales.
Yeah.
People would be like, what? They'd want it just to collect it. The Zelda fans would be all over that.
Yeah, they did that with GameCube a few times with some Zelda stuff, right?
Yes.
That's why they,
Yeah.
it's,
It's 2024. Somebody will buy it, dump it online. Nobody else will buy it.
No, do you know Zelda fans and the way we collect things? We're buying $300 Deku Tree Legos.
I mean, there is that.
Okay, we'll spend $70 just to have Nintendo's official release trailer on a cartridge. Yes. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Zelda fans will eat that shit up.
That's like the most
Not to the tune of 30
gift
million in sales, but you might get a couple extra million. Zelda fans are insane. And hey, if it gets them to try Metroid Prime, that's a win in my book.
Mhm.
Of course, they'll probably leave it sealed because there'll probably a little sticker on the box or something that says included Zelda trailer.
Sure, why not? Incentivize.
Nobody opens it, so we never actually see
We never
if,
actually know what
if the trailers
Look,
are
I
actually
bought
on
the
there.
game digitally, but I bought it physically just because it has the Zelda sticker. I have to leave it sealed.
No, I could see them doing like for Metroid Prime 4. I could see them doing like almost like a collector's edition where they add $20 to it, and then they give you 2 and 3, and then or you could buy 4 separately. And then finally, after like 3 months, they release 2 and 3 separately for like $30, so you could get it for $20 with 4 right away. Or they stop selling that then after 3 months, and they sell 2 and 3 separately for 30 or whatever it is. And whoops, you missed out on it.
So, Eric, what do you think game pricing is going to be like on the system?
I think as long as there's still support for the original Switch, I don't think we're going to see much of a price change in games. It's once we kind of start phasing out the Switch, the original Switch, that I think that we'll kind of start seeing those
for third parties. That'll be like day one.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, unless
I mean,
Nintendo's-
Call of Duty's not coming to Switch. There's a
No,
reason
yeah,
it's not
sure.
on it this year.
Yeah.
We're waiting for Switch 2.
Mhm.
Yeah, third-party games and every mainline Nintendo game is going to be on Switch too, not coming to
Like
Switch.
indie, I can see a lot of indie
Right.
titles still going both for a while because there's
Yeah.
a lot of sales to be
Yeah.
had still.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
But I'm thinking it's kind of going to be a holding pattern until they kind of start phasing out the original Switch. And once that happens, then you're going to start seeing a price hike. I can't tell you how much it's going to be, but it's, I could see it happening once the Switch is phased out.
All right. Well, Eric, since you were talking, what's our next
Yeah.
topic, buddy?
You know what? I'm going to actually give it to you.
What the